Welcome into our lives.
And welcome to the Expanders Club podcast.
We're so happy to have you.
Join us as we embark on a journey of deep exploration, soul searching, and asking the hard questions.
With the goal of truly understanding the most aligned, empowered, and purposeful versions of ourselves.
We want to live an extraordinary life, and we're willing to dig deep to find out what it takes.
Buckle up. You're about to meet a new version of yourself, an extraordinary one. Hello, friends, and welcome to the Expanders Club podcast. I am your host, your oracle, your friendly guide on this spiritual journey of expansion, Brooke Harris, and I am so grateful to have you here. How are you doing? I am just making it through these last days of the year of the snake. I've had a great year, and I know many of you have too. I've had a very transformational year, a year of a lot of change. Check all the boxes, right? The year of the snake. But these last few weeks are really bringing up those last little pieces that I need to work through. And while I'm grateful for it, I'm also a little bit like, what the heck? Some of this stuff I thought was over. But these last weeks and these last days in the year of the snake, it's not about digging in and doing deep, extensive work, right? Like, you're going to see patterns that you're familiar with and things that you know you've worked on come up, and it's just like one last check-in. Like, have we really put this to bed? And let's do that, right? If it's coming up, the answer is no. So let's do that. Let's really put this to bed. So I encourage you to add into your daily practice a way to reflect, to ask. That's one of my big things. You guys know this, and we talk about this in the episode. Just to ask, what do I need to release? What do I need to release today? What do I need to release before I can move into a new energy? Whatever language you want to use, just ask. The answer will come. Sit with it, see what emotions come up, see what parts of you come up, and feel it all. Process it. Give yourself some space and time to process it and properly put it to bed. For me, what this looks like is one of two things. Sometimes I like to literally pack it, visualize writing it on something and packing it in a suitcase. And that suitcase, will build up over the next week, the next few days, and then I will get rid of that suitcase or intentionally leave it behind. Or if you like a more powerful visual, you can throw it into a fire, and let the fire alchemize it. And, these things come up and there's the entire range of emotion with them. And I think the place that we want to land, again, before moving into the new energy, is gratitude. I'm grateful for that thought, that experience that created that story, whatever it is. I'm grateful that it got me here. Now I don't need it where I'm going. So it is not a moment of tension and fighting it. It's a moment of recognizing it, feeling any last things that need to come up, then removing the feeling, stepping away from the feeling. This is not a feeling anymore. It's a lesson. It's an observation, and I'm done with it. And thank you. And I think if you can create some time and space over the next, again, week and a half. So the 17th is when the new energy comes in. If you can create some time and space over the next week and a half to really incorporate the reflection and the processing and the letting go, you're going to be in great shape for the new energy and the year of the fire horse. Speaking of that, this episode I'm really excited for you guys to listen to. It is, the timing couldn't be better, and I actually moved it up because for a few reasons, but it just felt very perfect, the exact perfect way to close out this cycle of energy and move into the new cycle of energy. So for any of you who don't know her, I'm excited to introduce you to Rachel Blumberg Chiprut. And sorry, Chiprut. I'm sorry if I butchered your last name, Rachel, but I will put it in the show notes and all of the ways to find her, because you guys need to find her. You need to be watching her. You need to be in her energy. She is an incredibly magical human being. She is the founder. For any of those who are in LA, you will know this name. She's the founder of PlateFit, and she's a leading voice in nervous system-based movement, embodiment, and personal transformation. You will feel her energy immediately. Beyond any of those titles, I want you to understand and see and feel, and you will, that Rachel's a person who has walked the walk, right? She has landed. She's landed in the place that I talk about. She's landed in the place that many people are working to get to. And it is this level of self love, of centeredness, of wholeness, of being divinely guided, of being tapped into her intuition. And it is really beautiful to see how she shows up literally in every second. You can feel that she is in that energy. So I'm so excited for you guys to witness and experience that. And it goes beyond like expert advice, right? And tools and tips and tricks. Like it's the goal. And so to have that moment, to have these moments, to have this hour with her, to really experience that energy is an incredibly expansive experience. She also shares all kinds of wisdom. She hammers home on some of the foundational pieces that we talk about a lot, but aren't as sexy or are kind of skipped over if you're following a bunch of spiritual leaders or get most of your spiritual information from social media. Um, the reality is this journey is actually very simple. It is cutting out the noise and the chaos that is the hard part so that we can get back to those simple truths. And Rachel shares and reinforces a lot of those simple truths in our conversation today. Rachel also talks about reflection circles that she has that have been a huge game changer for her and something that she now hosts. And she is hosting one this month in February. I'm going to share the link. I will be joining. I recommend all of you, any of you who are interested in really doing the real work, to join. And certainly join before you make any decisions on any coaching program or manifesting program or anything that you're going to invest in this year. It sounds like they're a really beautiful opportunity to get in touch with ourselves, which is actually the goal of all of this. So like I said, I'll share the link and I will be there. And I hope to see you there. Would love to experience this with all of you together. Rachel is a very awakened energy and she didn't do it overnight, right? She has a really beautiful journey and a journey of just continuously pushing herself to show up. So excited for you guys to hear her wisdom. There are so many nuggets in it. Make sure you have your notebook out. Make sure you follow her. Please share this with a friend who might need to hear it or your friend that you talk spiritual stuff with. This information is the real deal. And I promise, even though so much of it sounds very simple, it will be life-changing for you. So I'm really excited to share Rachel, her wisdom, her energy, and excited to hear how this information shifts how you guys are thinking about your spiritual journey. All right, if you are looking to find me or work with me, everything is in the show notes. You can find me at d_Brooke_Harris. You can book an oracle session with me where I'll open your Akashic records. We can talk purpose. We can talk plans for the year. We can talk love life. We can talk anything that you want. I have limited sessions left for the next few months because many of you may know I am 31 and a half weeks pregnant. So winding things down for myself for a few months to go through my own birthing portal. But if you're interested in having a session while I have two souls in my body for the next month and a half or 2 months, make sure you book something. The sessions have been very, very fun and my little guy has been coming through with messages in a lot of them. So it's a pretty cool experience. All right. I appreciate you all. Cannot wait to hear what you think of this episode. And I hope to see you at that reflection circle. See you on the other side. Hello, friends. Welcome to the Expanders Club podcast. I am super excited today because we have, for those of you who live or have lived in LA, we have a fitness legend on with us. Rachel, hello. So great to see you.
Great to see you too. Thank you for having me.
Yes, can you give the quick little background of why I said that and what I mean by that?
Yeah, I can give as quick as possible. Um, so I own an exercise concept called PlateFit. It's a vibration-based studio. It is very, very popular right now on TikTok, all of these vibrational plates. And so if you've
Hmm.
seen them, that's what we do. But in the studio, we have these plates and they're big plates. But I've been doing this for 20 years and I was early to the game. At 27 years old, I was working for MySpace and I got introduced to this vibrational plate at a studio and I jumped on it and it in 30 seconds I like to say that it just like transformed and changed my entire trajectory of my life. I became
Yes.
obsessed with vibration. I was like, what is this thing? What is this machine? Why does it feel so good in my body? And I had this vision. Like it was just at the beginning where like there was the bar studios were like popular.
Yeah. Yeah.
And and then spin studios were like taking off. Soul Cycle wasn't like actually a thing yet, but there were spin studios everywhere, and it was these group classes started to be a thing. And the plates were $15,000, and I just had
Oh
this
my
idea
God.
that everybody should have access to them because the research that I did showed that no one, and the reason why no one knew about them is because they were 15 grand.
Right.
They
Yeah.
were these medical devices and not everybody had access nor understanding about what they were. And so I had an idea to just open studios where people could come take classes.
Yeah, it sounds like one of those divine downloads,
It was.
really, because you were so far ahead of your time. Like I hear a lot about vibrational plates now, and I've been in the wellness world for like deep in the wellness world for a long time too, so I've known about them, but even now just the conversation around like shaking as a somatic experience, and we know that animals, like the example would be like a gazelle being chased by a lion. Once they get away from the lion, they have this, they stop and they shake the trauma out. So what was, can you take us to that moment, because I feel like there's a lot of information in that moment that probably has guided you even past that first decision to start PlateFit.
Yeah. So the moment, so to just back up a little bit, so which is just a really big part of my story, and I like to mention it, is that at 27 years old, I woke up and I was like, you know what, alcohol isn't for me.
Mm,
And I decided like it just doesn't work with my body.
yeah.
And I was just not who I wanted to be when I was drinking. And so the decision to take that substance, which is a really toxic substance, and there's so much more now than there was then, right? Like the thought of actually taking alcohol out of my life at 27 years old was like really life shattering.
I'm sure. Yeah.
I did it. And that single decision then set me up for, a lot of clarity in my body.
Mm,
And when I jumped on the plate, this just happens to me. And it's like I get this divine download. It is a download that this is something I have to do. And it doesn't really matter what anyone says. Like,
yes.
I have to do it. And I told everyone, I said, listen, I'm quitting my job at MySpace. And I had a great job at MySpace. I had the job, I had the corporate job
Yeah. Yeah.
down here. I lived on the Wilshire corridor. I had everything. And but I was really unfulfilled by my job. And
Hmm.
I just had this like desire that became an obsession. That I was like, I want to help people feel better in their bodies because I knew that this plate, even though I didn't know the long-term benefits of it and I just had done some reading on it, I knew that vibration and frequency and all the things I was feeling in my body were really, really important for healing.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you, now I can tell you all the reasons why, because it's 20 years of being on this plate, 20 years of seeing it transform people's lives, 20 years of somatic, like 20 years of like consistently showing up and doing this one thing over and over and over again. And how many lives it's changed. Like looking back in retrospect is always like my body, my soul, my intuition, like my entire being knew that this was something that was really helpful and beneficial and
Yes.
safe and wonderful for the body. And it just, now it's expanded into more of the spiritual stuff, but it really opened my soul to a new way of being in the world.
As it always does, right? Like so many of us who have started, and I think this is the sometimes the natural flow. You start on the wellness journey And then as you get to a certain place on the wellness journey and you're like, damn, there's no other way for this to go than to the spiritual side of things. But I want to talk about that. So the plate is a tool, right? But what is it, the tool, what is it unlocking? Because I think and I think that's where your journey and your mission in life has really has really unraveled and expanded, right? Like what was it unlocking that you felt was such a big deal for people?
It was unlocking like the nervous system in a way. It allowed me to really feel energy in my body.
Mm,
It allowed me to get in touch with like the tendons and the joint, like the physical aspect of what vibration and the circulation in the body. It allowed me to like sort of grasp and like understand what energy was
yes.
and that it was
Yes.
actually a thing. And like I can see in books and history books and science books and all of it that there's a circular system and there's a nervous system and all the systems. No one was, by the way, no one was talking about this 20 years ago. Like
Yeah.
people, it's absolutely out of my mind. And I also, which I really loved, is that the plate that we used was called a power plate. And I just felt like I was like plugging into power.
Yeah.
Like I
Yeah.
felt plugged like on a spiritual level because I was also like connecting more in my body. I was like, I feel like I'm plugging into something. Like there's this power that I'm having access to. And so it was like clearing out my body in a way to like connect deeper into my soul.
I love that. And it's almost like, who cares what the interpretation of it is, right? Like people were obviously getting and feeling benefits because your studios, you opened more than one studio, it became very popular. Like I said, if you lived in LA in the past decade, like you know PlateFit, you probably know View. So you created something really special. What what's the next, once you've like used the tool and unlocked things, like what's the next evolution of that?
The next evolution for me was, sometimes I think when we get into building mode and like expansion mode, I I it's almost like I expanded too fast and I
Mm,
didn't stay connected to my soul. And so I opened 5 studios and then and like looking back, it's interesting because then I had to close 4 of them. I actually had to close 3 during COVID. We opened 2 right before COVID started. Early 2 in October 2019, January 2020. And then 3 months
my
later,
God.
and fitness was at its height and we were doing, I mean, when I say we were like, we had somebody offer me $16 million for 55% of the business with 3 locations. And I was like, I want to keep it, we wanted to keep expanding. I mean, it was booming. Business
Yeah.
was booming, fitness was booming, everything was booming. I mean, we all know this about COVID. And COVID really stopped me in my tracks.
Hmm.
It the forward momentum that I was in was, and I also, yes, so it stopped me in my tracks. I actually had gone back to drinking, which is an interesting thing. Also, as I started to build, when I had kids, I like something happened to me. Like I
Yeah.
just went backwards on a soul level.
Yes. I wanted to ask that because I wanted to tune into the difference between when you, even just you talking about it, when you talked about that first moment where you were like, I need to do this, I need to bring this to people, and that was so divinely guided. It feels like the expansion steps, like kind of the next chapter, was less divinely guided, which I can so relate to, and I know so many founders can, right? Once you're in it, you kind of get wrapped up in the all of the being in it and the success and the more. Talk to me about, in hindsight, like the differences that you now see in those energies or the way you were making decisions or the way you were showing up during that time.
I think when you start to expand and success becomes a real thing, it's like the idea that more success is what you want, more expansion is what you want, more is the answer.
Hmm.
I remember like, when I closed my 3rd studio and then I was looking at closing my 4th studio, I said to my husband, I said, and this isn't his fault. I'm not blaming him at all because he he does a lot of expansion for a living and builds things, and like he finds locations, and like the numbers and everything made sense.
Right.
But you know what? When I started this, I really just wanted like the one. I wanted the one because I just never really wanted myself. I think PlateFit has the capacity to sit in somebody's lap and like have somebody who wants to like build an empire around
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
And I would love to be a part of that, but I don't have a deep desire to like to to be in that to open 100 of them.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Or at
It's
least
a,
I didn't then, you know?
yeah.
And like so like I don't know, there was just a contraction, and I didn't even know it was happening until COVID, something outside of me stopped me. And when I've been able to make money since I was 16 years old, and the inability to actually work and continue to expand in whatever
Mm-hmm.
threw me into like the darkest night of the soul, I think I've had
Mm-hmm.
ever.
Mm-hmm.
And it
Yeah.
really re-examine like, how do I want to live moving forward, and what do I want to do, and like, is it plate fit, and is
It's an identity crisis.
yeah.
Yeah, and again, I know this is so relatable for so many founders, especially female founders. Like we tie our energy into our businesses in every way, right? We become, especially those early years, we become one and the same, especially if you're having success, you're the face of the business. Like it's kind of a mind fuck for like lack of a better word. And all of a sudden your business is and you have the same identity when really like it's two separate energies, especially once that business starts growing, right? Past your initial vision. Like it's almost like we have to allow it to do its own thing and have its own energy, which I think based on what you and I have discussed is the stage that you're in now and would love to talk about that. But we only have the experience of like, hey, my energy, me, I have to push this business forward and I have to be intertwined with it to have success. And I think that's a really hard moment. And for a lot of us, we have to have those catalysts to let that push us to the point of like, I have to withdraw or create some separation because if not, like it's taken me down.
And it did take me down, and I'm grateful that it took me down,
Yes.
because
Yeah.
in the dark night of the soul, I don't know if many people know what that is. I'm sure that they do, but it was just a really, really hard time for me. And it was soul searching time. And I decided again that the life that I was living was not the life I wanted to live anymore. And I was ready to move in a different direction, whatever that meant. And I went on a healing quest because I was so out of whack. I realized like during COVID, like I was like drinking again and hanging out again and going out, and like I was doing all the things that founders sometimes do, like building and building and going, and I just was like, I don't know who I am.
Yeah. 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 That I relate to that energy so much. And when I reflect back, it feels like an ego driven actions, right? Which of course, like you're in business, you're in LA, you're having success, like of course the ego starts to step in. But one of the big missions of really this podcast is to share about those moments that, where you do fall into the dark night of the soul, how you get out, the whole process, but to do it in a way where we can help prevent others from having to go and be pushed as far as we did before we made a change, right? So is there a moment looking back where do you see a clear moment where you could have made a decision that was more aligned and that was more aligned for you and you didn't, and then that led to the ultimate catalyst of the dark night of the soul?
Just being able to like be more connected to my soul, be more connected to like and find value in the things that I wanted to do. Like I just was moving and doing what I thought I was supposed to do, instead of like really
Mm,
centering myself and asking the question, like, what do I want to do? And how quickly do I want to do it? How fast do I want to expand?
yeah.
Like, I just was not asking any questions. I was also
Mm,
young too, younger. And
yes.
yeah, in retrospect, looking back, having a ritual, having a practice, having a deep meditation practice, having a connection to myself, having a practice, a grounding practice so that I could make decisions from that place instead of this place of like, oh, we got to expand and we found another location and we have to open 35 of them. And we have to
Hmm.
because everybody's doing it. And it's just what you do when you're a founder. And if the opportunity's there, you just go for it.
You take it. Yes. And that energy it feels very outside of the body, right?
Yeah.
Where that original, and I know that this is something that obviously PlateFit helps with, and something that you're really passionate about is like the embodiment of like making decisions from an embodied, grounded, centered place. How, and I can feel the embodiment, the groundedness in you now. How, talk about the journey to embodiment, because I think I see this all the time too with clients and in their evolution. Like there's so many concepts we understand, right? You understood from a very clear place about what this vibration was doing, how it helped the nervous system, how it helped the body. You were connected spiritually at a high level at one point. Um, but and I had this experience too. For me, the more I got into my business, the more I forgot those things. The more I forgot who I was, the more the outside voices were, and the more I forgot my knowing. What was your path to actually, okay, let me take these concepts, let me take these things that I know, and let me actually embody them and live them out?
Yeah, my path was a path of like it was desperation to to not feel the way that I was feeling anymore, which
Mm,
was very lost, very confused, very misaligned in my friendships, very misaligned in my business, very misaligned with my clients, very misaligned with my husband. Like I woke up and I was just like, I don't know who I am anymore. And that propelled me to seek.
yeah.
I'm just a seeker.
Yes.
I'm like a seeker. And so the levels in which I seek at are many. And quest. Like I literally went on a
Yeah.
quest. Like I did plant medicine journeys. I did like all the work. I did retreats and meditation retreats. And I found and nervous system stuff. I'm a
Mm,
big, huge yoga nidra advocate. It is a free tool and it is an incredible tool. I started sitting in these things called reflection circles, which is a huge part of my healing. And I talk about it because now I facilitate them. And
okay.
the yoga nidra and the reflection circles, I sat in my first reflection circle and I thought, with all of the stuff that I had done to date, I had this like spiritual egoism around me that, like, what could a reflection circle do for me? I'm just going to go listen and reflect. And I had that spiritual snobberism because there's so many people in the spiritual space that actually have it and don't even realize they have it because they've done
Yes.
17 ayahuasca journeys and all of a sudden they're more, centered than most. And it's just actually not true. Like this simple practice of listening and reflecting was so difficult for me.
Yes.
And I
Yes.
was
Let's
like,
dig into this.
wow, I am unable to listen without my own story. I'm
Yes.
unable to like actually really hold space and listen to others because I wanted to help. We're in like a culture of same, me too. And when you same somebody and you're like, this is what happened to me, you hijack the story.
Yes.
And what happened to me, it makes me emotional every time, is when I learned to really, I was like, I have to do this simple practice. So I just showed up. And you reflect and then you give empathy and validation without advice giving,
Mm,
which is so hard
yes.
because we
Yes.
can relate and we want to be helpful. But when somebody is actually, there's space for somebody to just be and say, and then to reflect back what they've said to them for the sole fact of just reflecting it back. It's like you create this space. I created space in my body and I learned to listen to others. And in
Mm,
turn, created so much space. I learned to listen to myself in a way I had never like blown away by the simple, beautiful tool of learning to listen.
And isn't that, I want to dig into that more, but isn't that really kind of where so much of this leads us to, is the reality that it is actually very simple. Like the everyone wants clarity, they want answers, they want to be able to tap in, and it's like I don't think you understand how easy that actually is, but we have to go through this journey to clear out all the other stuff. So, just like you said, we struggle to just sit and listen and not be reactive or not chime in with our own experience or not trauma bond or relate. And I want to hear, can you tell us a little bit more like of the details of like what a reflection circle is and kind of what goes down in one?
Yeah, it's, I just, the power of this pause, the power of the pause. People talk about the pause when you pause when agitated or doubtful, and like the pause can feel very scary to people because there's like this lack of control. It's like and the
Hmm.
pause. So what happens in these reflection circles, I'll just tell you, is we sit down, do a grounding meditation. I read a prompt. Everybody goes around the room and shares on the prompt, and then we just reflect back to the person what they shared. And we offer empathy and validation without advice giving in our story. So I'll give you an example, like in a
Yeah.
relation. So like in a relationship. So it's I hope people can follow me on this, but it's a really profound, very simple example. But I walk in and I have got a haircut. I chop my hair. My hair is actually long, but I chop my hair off and I walk in and my husband sees me and he says, really, really don't like your haircut. And I'm like, oh, honey, it must be really hard to look at me without liking what I look like. So I like take myself out,
Hmm.
reflect back what he said. So I'm like, God, you really don't like my haircut. It must be so hard to not like what you look at, especially when it's your wife. Without it has nothing to do with me.
There's no emotional attachment.
There's no emotional attachment. There's no advice giving. There's not like, oh my God, I can't believe you don't like I didn't make it about me.
Yeah.
And that's a really big one because it's a relationship and really close to home. But what happens in these circles, and I've like, because I'm so big on the nervous system, because like I've experienced this profound ability to let go in meditations. And it's like I can feel my nervous system on
Mm-hmm.
how much we hold without even knowing we're holding. And what happens, I think, in these circles is there's a container that feels incredibly safe.
Yeah.
And when we feel safe enough to share without anybody telling us that it should be anything different than exactly what it is, the nervous system starts to unwind. And you're like, oh, I can just be where I'm at. And the like the letting go and then the receiving. I don't know. It's just it's this is a really incredible practice.
Oh, it makes a ton of sense. And I think safety period is something people don't realize that maybe they've gone through their whole life and never really felt. And to me, it is the foundation of any of the next levels. And safety and nervous system regulation, right, go hand in hand. You have to feel safe in order to regulate your nervous system. But I can tell you exactly how to open the Akashic records or tap into your guides, right? However, those tools are useless to you unless you feel safe and have a regulated nervous system. And so even I could even feel just your nervous system regulating even more as you were talking about the circles, but also thinking about how often do we have the opportunity to even be heard by someone else,
Very,
you
very,
know?
very rarely. Yeah.
Yeah, so I can only imagine how powerful those are. And you host them like I'm in. How do we how do we get to the next one you're hosting?
Yeah, I host them 4 times a month here in Los Angeles, but I've had such an interest because I've been speaking about nervous system regulation on Instagram a little bit more and safety and tools that I've been using for, the last 5 years to really come back into my body. I did a circle the other day and I just keep getting reflected back to me how grounded I am.
Mm-hmm.
An
Mm-hmm.
interesting energy because that's not something that people have reflected back to me for most of my life. But I mean, the work to like come back home and to feel safe in my body, I'm just like so proud of myself.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
I like
Yes.
wake up and I'm like, yeah, like I'm good.
Yeah.
I can do this today, you know?
Yeah.
And if I don't, if I feel like I get out of whack, I have the tools to like come back.
But what was tell me about the discomfort to get there, because I think that everyone wants that result, right? But what are the layers that you had to unravel, and what is the discomfort that you had to go through to get to that, to get to this place where you are so whole, so have so much unconditional love for yourself, so centered?
I mean, I think there's a lot of loneliness, a lot of uncovering of what I'm not, a lot of
Mm,
that fell away, a lot of, I mean, the choice to it was like it was almost like this hibernation. I was like, I need to just do what I need to do in order to get myself back to wholeness. And that comes at a cost. And I don't want to scare anyone, but it comes at a cost. But on the other side of it, on the other side of like, you know, the self-discovery of what I am not, like I am not this. I am not the resentments I hold. I don't have to keep feeling the way that I'm feeling. There's tools that I can there is safety in my body, like all the stuff to come back on the other side. It's, you know, one of my teachers says like it's really, really lonely before it's not. And the
yes.
loneliness is this unraveling of who I thought I needed to be in order to have a successful life, who I
Yes.
needed to be to have the friendships, who I needed to be in the world, who I needed to be in my business. Like I was playing a role that I didn't even know I was playing.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I mean, there's so much we could talk about, but my 6-year-old self needed me to, like, it just made this promise at 6 years old to be what I thought everybody else needed me to be in order to
Mm-hmm.
make them happy.
Yeah, the loneliness is almost this like unrelatability, right? Where you feel unrelatable to others. You also aren't willing to stretch yourself or put on the mask to relate to them. And so, yeah, it's a little bit disorienting. And I think you said it comes at a cost, and I want to dive into that a little bit because I speak about this. I can see it for you, like whatever that price is, it's totally worth it. So can you put some language behind that? Like, yes, it comes at a cost, and but that cost is how your old version relates to it, right? Or the version of you, for the audience, the version of you maybe right now that knows you need to step into the journey. Like, yes, that might feel like a cost, but what is it actually?
It's the most freedom. It's literally like the most liberating. Like last year, my word was liberation, and
Mm.
this year, I know this is going to sound like a very interesting word, but it's sexy because it's just
Ooh.
embodied. I would never like say that before, but it is about living this like very embodied because sexy is not for me. I've unraveled that it's not about how I look. It's not about what I wear. It's about who I am and how I want to be in the world. How
Hmm.
the only person that I need to impress is myself.
Yeah.
Like who am like at night when I lay my head down and go to sleep, I'm like, good job, babe. You did a good job today.
Yeah.
Like I have great relationships. And so the price I pay is like it feels like a cost because things will shift, relationships will shift, and some will stay, but some of them won't. And there's pain in letting go. There's pain in there's there's a pain in restructuring. And on the
Yeah.
side, and there's a loneliness. The loneliness is absolutely necessary because in that loneliness you find yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Like no one is going to do the thing that I need to do except for me,
Yeah.
which is like truly, truly, honestly, like take out all the stuff that I'm not and be brave enough and willing enough to be who I am.
Yeah.
And like that is what everybody's after. You know, everybody's like, well, who am I? Well, you have to find out what you're not. You have to really feel safe in your body. The nervous system is literally about feeling safe and the ability to come back in. And then it's bravery to go be you.
Yes. Yes. I love I love both that language, finding out what you're not and then finding out who you are, beyond the reflection circles, which I think are really a great place for anyone to start because you and I both know there's so much information in the silence. There's so much power. I talk about this all the time. There's so much power in reflection. But beyond those, what are the tools that you used for both sides to find out who you weren't and then to figure out who you are?
I mean, I did a lot of ritual meditation. I always ask people, my clients that I'm working with, like, what's your morning practice? Like, it's a really a non-negotiable for me.
Yes. Yeah.
It's if you're not unwilling to have a morning practice, then you're unwilling to actually show up for yourself. Like
Yeah.
we have to create space. It's movement every day. And like the blueprint for everybody is different, but it's a seeking through meditation and through spiritual books and through non-spiritual books and just all the different practices to really find out who you're not. It's an inventory of, for me, it's an inventory of, I take a yearly inventory of things I'm holding on to.
Mm,
I get really, really honest about my resentments. I get really honest about my fears. I get really honest about my judgments of others and
mm,
myself because we're
mm.
human beings, because I don't want to hold on to that.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
and when I can get really honest about it, then I can help clients get really honest because it's relatable.
Yeah.
We have social media, we're all judging, we're all looking, we're all, and like, and then I understand that it's my own, it's my own self-judgment. And so taking an
Yes.
inventory and, there's so many practices to come back into your body and it's different for everybody, but it is a journey worth taking. And we're still, by the way, you and I are still on
Oh, yes. Oh my gosh. I don't know. I think the only end to it is like, our
it.
when we move on to the next dimension. But I think that what you were just saying too hits home for me, and I hope the audience is realizing this, like why the body and the connection to the body is so important. The things you were talking about, judgment, disconnect, like we can feel those in sometimes our brain doesn't register them, but our body always does, right? So if you have that relationship with your body, you can feel like your body will give you the signal instantly. So many of us are so used to ignoring it, right? And then do that for years and then it manifests into other things. But um those things, I was thinking about my own practices, and when everything that you mentioned, when I can feel judgment in my body, I can feel disconnect, I can feel like any discomfort in the body is a signal to, just like you talked about, to take that pause and be like, what is that? Let me dig into that. And yeah, we're constantly, for me, I don't know if you've experienced this, but I'll, things that I've put to bed and have spent so much work on and have had a point where I'm like, cool, I'm good with that. They still sneak in. Yes.
There's two questions that I ask myself consistently, probably every single day, and it's, is it true? And
Mm,
Byron Katie tool, and I don't know if anybody knows about Byron Katie, but she's incredible. And the question is the thought that I'm having, the situation that I'm not okay with, the judgment, like, is it actually true that it's happening or that it has happened or that it didn't happen? And if you want freedom, the answer is always no.
mm-hmm,
That's
mm-hmm.
for a lot of people, but it's beautiful when you can understand that, who would I be without the thought that it needs to be any different? Who would I be without the thought that, like, it's like all of these two questions really help me sort of navigate some of those things, the judgments and the resentments and the people should be acting a certain way or doing a certain thing. It's like there's so many incredible tools to, I always say, like, if you want to be right, like, you can be right in your wrongness and your victimization and all the things that you want to be right about, or you can be free.
Yeah. Mm, mm.
Huge.
Yes. I love that. And being right is still has such an emotional, there's such an emotional piece to it, right?
Yeah.
How do you tell me your thoughts on emotions, how you navigate them, like what they mean to you?
I love emotions. I used to not be emotional at all. In any case, I was just really shut down. And I mean, everybody, I'm literally from a farm town up in Northern California, and everybody for the entirety of my life has thought that I'm from New York City. Like I have this like
Really,
tough,
yeah.
cold exterior, and like I am I'm a very intense human being. I've accepted my intensity because it's a real superpower. I'm
What's your astrology?
I'm a Cancer, but I'm also a projector, so not everybody's
Okay.
supposed to like me. It's like
Okay.
a whole thing.
Okay.
Um, I'm a Cancer, Taurus, Sagittarius rising.
Okay. Interesting. Okay.
Taurus moon,
Well,
yeah.
it feels like you're just not now moving back into your real the
Yeah.
real. I'm a Cancer sun too. Cancer sun and Cancer moon. Aries rising and similar, not cold necessarily, but just aggressive. You know? I was very much Aries and if I had told you I had Cancer in my top three, you'd be like, there's no way, right? And to come to find out that same journey that I went on is you of like, what am I not? What am I? Like, oh no, I'm actually really loving and nurturing and have this like huge, warm heart. I just haven't felt safe enough to like fully be my true Cancer self. So welcome, fellow
Thank
Cancers.
So about your emotions, like I think emotions are amazing. They're indicators about where we're at. And I was taught from a really young age not to have an emotion unless I was hurt and to
Mm,
stop crying and why are you crying and like all
mm,
these. I mean, listen, it's just the generation that we grew up in and my parents grew up in, and they're amazing humans. But I mean, feeling your emotions is an indicator. And I think toxic positivity is a thing. Like I just
yes.
think it's like you can't think your way out of grief. You can't
Yeah.
think your way out of like sadness. You can't think your way out of feeling hurt. And so like to name those emotions and to feel them in their entirety and to say like, okay, this is present for me. I'm going to feel really, really, really sad because I feel sad that this
Yeah.
happened. Or I feel sad about the state of the world. Or, I had a circle the other day and somebody's like, I'm pushing down the feeling of being fearful about what's happening.
Mm,
And I'm like, well, let's explore that. What does that look like? And like it's energy in the body. It's
yes.
moving it out. It's allowing it to breathe. It's allowing yourself to understand that emotions are an indicator.
It's information, right?
Such good information.
Yes, but then I feel like you live in a way where you don't let your emotion run the show, or you don't let your yeah,
Yeah.
you don't allow your emotion to dictate your actions. So what is that? How do we bridge that gap?
Well, I think what happens is ultimately is when I have enough space in my body to identify that like I'm the creator.
Hmm.
Joe Dispenza, which I love, what like him or not, I love his teachings. Like we're the creator of our life. And so I can feel the emotion, I can see the emotion, and I can understand that it's just an emotion and that it's an indicator. And so I can come back in, allow it to be present, and to say, like, I'm just not gonna be overcome by this. Or I'm gonna resource enough to say, I want to feel, I'm signing up to feel bad and scroll.
Mm,
No,
mm.
actually in like I'm like agreeing with this lower part of myself. It's almost like I'm having the conversation like, you know what? I'm going to get on my phone and probably not feel good in 30 minutes, but I'm going to do it anyways. It's like this conversation, instead of just letting your mind dictate where you're going and your
Yes.
emotions dictate. It's like there's power in creating space in your body. When you create space, you realize that you're not all the things that are happening. There's a deeper knowing. There's a deeper like soul connection that really gets to like be in charge.
And it is this consciousness, right, that everyone talks about. If you can bring consciousness to every moment, every decision, that even if you are making the decision to scroll, you're probably doing it a lot less. You're probably going in with a little bit more of a purpose, right? Or setting a timeline. Versus we've all been there, all of us, we're all of a sudden scrolling, and all of a sudden we're like, wait, where am I? What am I doing? Like, why was I doing this before? And I think it's a really important I want to call it a tool, but it's not a tool. It's a really important place to be operating from. And you have to have that space and that silence to be more conscious than not. Like that is a big step in the journey of choosing consciousness.
Of course, I'll give you, I shared this. I was actually sharing with a group of women the other day on Tuesday. Somebody asked me to come speak. And so I was sharing about boundaries and expectations and how people get boundaries confused with expectations and the power of this pause. And I'll give you this little story, but I was in a circle, 9:45 p.m. I go home and my kids are usually in bed by 8:45. And I walk in the door and like my husband's like, the dog's not walked. And I'm like, ugh. And the kids are awake. And I'm like, ugh. Like all these little, like,
Yeah.
like, you know what I mean? Like we want to be like,
Mm-hmm.
and because I've learned like this, like, it's like, you can just pause for a second. Like you don't have to be the voice that says, why?
Mm-hmm.
When I walk into the kitchen, this is great. I walk into the kitchen and it's like a bomb blew off. I'm like, there is food everywhere. There's dishes everywhere. And I am like I love a tidy house. I don't go to bed without the kitchen being clean.
Yeah.
There's water on the ground. The trash thing is open. Like I'm like, I'm here with dad, so I'm even more upset. And I'm like, there's this thing that happened. I was like, I don't have to make anything wrong. Just pick up the sponge and do it. Picked up the sponge, did the dishes. I put the dog, because first of all, I love doing the dishes, by the way. I'm like happy doing the dishes.
Come on over anytime.
I go take the dog on the walk and I come back and I would have missed this. What I heard was them laughing. I heard what I needed to hear. I heard because I created enough space because I have a practice of creating space. I have an intention that like, I don't want to be right and self-righteous. And what I heard was a really beautiful, fun night with their dad that let them stay up too late. Like, it's like, listen, we can talk about being spiritual and being grounded and center and leading these circles, but who are you when you come home and your house is at 9:45 p.m.?
Yep.
That's what I laid my head. I was like, I'm so proud of you, Rachel, because you would have missed this entire thing.
Yeah.
If you hadn't been doing the work.
And what are the results? It just escalates the way everyone else is feeling. It causes emotion for them. There's no good result that comes from the reactivity and I love that. And I think there's something really important in your story, and in your journey that's really beautiful is like, I feel a lot of people expecting this, like they get to that dark hole, the dark night of the soul, whatever you want to call it. And to them, it feels like a burn it all down moment, right? Okay, great. My relationships have to go. My husband has to go. My job has to go. I get a lot of clients that come to me speaking that way. And it's like, whoa. Like, let's hold on a moment. But I feel like we've seen that modeled so much in the past where we give platforms to, and we applaud these, like, again, the burn it down moment of like, I'm changing everything in my life. And you didn't do that. You let your husband stay.
My relationship with my husband is beyond anything I ever thought that I would have.
Yes.
And it had like, I realized I thought he was the problem. I was really the problem. And I had a deep desire to stay married. And I had a deep desire to have successful relationships in whatever capacity. And so that's what I went after. And
yes.
It's the case for everybody, but jumping ship on my life and saying, I'm out of here felt like the easy thing to do.
Yes. And let's dig into that because you, instead of doing work that was outside of you, right? You went in. One, I love, like, you're obviously very connected. You were another divinely guided moment, right? And kind of like you said, and I've talked about, I've used the exact same language, is like, all you can do is show up and you just commit to showing up. And I know that you can relate to this. Like, that doesn't mean you know what showing up looks like the next day or even the next hour, the next moment, right? You just do it. But I love that you had the intuition, the connection, the knowing to do the inner work versus trying to change your outer world. Tell me what that ripple effect looked like.
When I started to change, everything around me started to change. Like I tell people a lot, everyone's like, I want the husband, I want the this, I want I want the money, I want all of it. And I'm like, well, you have to start being that for yourself first. Like
Yes.
what I saw in my relationship, first of all, at home was like when I stopped, when I closed my mouth when I walked into the door, and I didn't need to make it about him. And I just did what I needed to do for me to be okay. Like in that moment, I needed the house to be clean and I needed the dog to be walked. And so I took care of myself.
Mm-hmm.
And that changes the energy in the house. Now
Yes.
everybody's had a good night. And so I met my husband in a different energy. And so I slowly, one day at a time, one moment at a time, my relationship started to mirror the relationship I was having with myself.
Mm-hmm.
And so who was showing up in front of me was a different man because I
Yeah.
started to honor myself. He started to honor me.
Yep.
When I
Yep.
started, it doesn't always happen. Like, listen, sometimes relationships need to end, and sometimes marriages do end, but my relationship did not, and it's such a success story. And I'm so glad that it's a success story because
Yes.
who sits in front of me now is like, we just don't fight the way that we used to fight. We just, because we both have learned to like really honor our own needs. And so when you honor yourself and you love yourself enough to do the necessary stuff to take care of yourself, and you stop pointing the finger at everybody else, like
Mm-hmm.
you need to do that. Everybody needs to change in order for me to be okay. It's like the opposite of what actually needs to happen. Like I need to take care of me. And then when I take care of me, then everybody else takes care of themselves and then everybody's happy.
Yes. And even when you say it that way, like you need to change in order for me to be okay. Like how crazy does that actually sound, you know? You say that and you're like, yeah, there's no path to that being successful. Um,
Dude, but the world runs around saying that if everything was just the way I wanted it to be, then I would be able to
hmm
be okay. Like if everybody in my family, if I just came home and everybody did exactly what I wanted them to do all the time, then I would be okay. And then you're like, that's so boring.
and never gonna happen.
And never, exactly, never gonna happen. Then you start to forgive people because you start to forgive yourself. You're like, wow, I
Yes.
don't want to be controlled. Like, let's let people off the hook. Like I always just say, like to people, like forgiveness is a thing. Like forgiveness of yourself is so huge because we
hmm
carry all of this. And then when you
mm
can forgive yourself for thinking that everything needs to be a certain way or that people need to do what you want them to do or like whatever self-judgment you have, then you can start to forgive other people and you can let them off the hook.
Yeah. And I think too, I have this belief that as women, as mothers, as partners, like we, for better or worse, because of our connection to the energy field, like we kind of set the tone for the energy around us. We are the energy keepers of our family, of our businesses, of our partnerships. And when we can kind of clean house and keep that energy good, it does have a really impactful ripple effect.
Yeah, I wrote about this on Instagram the other day. I said my husband and I don't talk before 10 a.m. The truth is because we're totally different morning people. And like
hmm
I always say, like, as much as we don't want to be the deciders of how things are in the household, we hold so much power as women in our homes. And if you're
Yes.
not right, then no one's going to be right.
Yes.
I'm always like,
Yeah.
if daughter is out of whack, she's such a mirror of my energy. And it's
Yes.
hard, it's a really tough pill to swallow. That like that it's a really tough, but when you swallow the pill,
hmm
the most freedom because you realize that you get to be the creator of how you want it to go.
Yes.
Like you're
Yes.
like, wow, I just have to change my energy and then the energy around me shifts. Like I don't have to make anybody do anything.
Yes.
Like close my eyes, come back in, connect and ground in, like get settled in my nervous system, get settled in my body, pray. Like I'm a big like God, like please, whatever you pray to, source
Yes.
is like, and then things magically go the way they should go, and
Yeah.
it's better than you could ever expect it. And how many moments we miss by like, yeah,
Yeah, I love that example. I mean, our daughters are such and our children, right? I only have a daughter at the moment. We'll see when this little boy comes. I'm sure it'll be a whole other journey and new angles in the mirror. But I've had that same experience, and I know so many parents probably have. That's so clear. Like the more present I am, she's an angel. You know, when I'm distracted over the holidays, we came out of the threes were a journey. We had, 90% angel, 10% holy shit. And coming into four, it improved a little bit, but there's this this clear marker moment looking back where my husband and I were like, we've shifted into a new chapter. She's so easy. Like all the things that were hard before, the convincing, it's mostly like bedtime stuff. I'm sure you can relate, 5 p.m. on
yeah,
is like the tough time.
yeah,
Yes, dinner, bath, bedtime, all that. And we were like, the last couple of weeks, she's been literally an angel. And you know what the marker was? Me, it was when the holidays started, a few days before the holidays or the week before the holidays, I made a commitment to myself to be super present. I took myself completely off of social media, and I've since then even extended the change in my relationship to social media and just committed to being present, especially when she was around, changed my relationship with my phone. And that was the marker of it completely shifted those hard moments with her are it's just like everything's so pleasant and she's such an angel to be around. I was like, damn, damn, it was me the whole time.
it's me.
Yes.
Yeah, like at the same time we're celebrating, and you're
Yeah.
like, wow, there's so much power in it's me. There's so
Yes.
much power and radical responsibility. I'm just like, yes, like I get to change.
What are the things that you see being talked about on social media or in the spiritual world? Because I would say you're definitely far in the spiritual world. The wellness journey we talked about PlateFit, but I know and I can feel the mission behind PlateFit shifting as you're evolving and your personal mission evolving. And I would say you are very evolved in like there's a lot of paths that, as I see it as a visual person, I can see the different paths, and you chose a very evolved path and a very efficient path on the spiritual journey. What are things that you're seeing being talked about or being kind of enforced or touted in the spiritual world that you feel like just are not it?
I just think there's too many people in this space saying that they're expert at a thing that they're not experts at. And I think social media is I don't think it's good. I actually just don't think it's a great tool. It is the tool for
Hmm.
people. And I think when you have a groundedness and a real desire to help somebody, it can be what I get a lot from feedback is that you're very authentic on your Instagram. Like you're very in line with who you are outside of here. And that
Yeah.
makes me think like a lot of people are not. And I think just be wary that everybody is not an expert. And just case in point, I've been doing vibration for 20 years, 22 years now. I am a vibration like I'm an expert in this field. Like I've
Yes.
been doing it every day. Like I know what it does. I know how it works with people. And there are thousands and thousands of people on Instagram and TikTok and all the platforms vibrating saying that they're experts on a platform that they have no idea about and writing articles and like one doc like it's an interesting world we live in because it's information driven. And
Yes.
I just like to say this, one thing I like to teach my kids is just to question everything.
Yeah.
I really
Yeah.
like the internal question. Like I always say, like, I mean, like it's discernment. Like, is this actually somebody I believe? Because there's
Yes.
not a lot of discernment going on, especially for our younger kids, because there's just so much information, and we're like, oh, that's the expert, and that's the expert, and that's the expert, and like, not everybody's the expert. And so, who are you in your life, and who are you when you come home at 9:30 at night? And like, I think, you know what I mean? It's like that's those are the people I want to attract into.
Mm-hmm.
Who is
Mm-hmm.
actually living this and embodying it in their everyday life? And yeah, just beware. I think that everybody's an expert now in everything, and that AI is an expert, and that it's not going away. And so I think we just have to learn what discernment is. And I just will go back to create space every,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
no matter, it's like a non-negotiable. Like, I don't care that you're not a morning person. Like, wake
Yes.
up, and the space is not just like, it's like, yeah, the method to get there. It is like you create the space and you have a journal, and like you create a ritual for yourself where you
Yes.
actually then discern what feels good and what doesn't feel good. If you don't create
Yes.
that space, you're going to be a victim to everything out there.
And I kind of love it, it makes so sense that I mean that is one of the highest spiritual truths, right? But it also makes so much sense that that's where you landed because if we go back to where you started with the vibrational plates, that literally created space in your body for you to even be able to take the next steps and have that silence, have that ritual, like fall into all the things that you have. So it's just such a beautiful, like well-rounded journey, and like you are always going to end up here, you
Yeah.
know?
I mean, it's my projector 4-6 rule too. I'm like, wow. And like my G, there's just, I need to do a reading with you because I'd love to do my records and just see what's in there. But yeah, I feel good about the journey that I'm on right now.
I think too, in spiritual advisors, we'll call them the people that we go to help us through our journey. I think one thing that is really important and one thing that is so clear with you is like, yes, you are the expert. You are an expert. You have the information, but what you are leading it back to actually individually we're the experts for ourselves, right? Everything that you're talking about, especially the reflection silence space, like leads back to its self-empowerment because that's also one of the only other universal truths. And like we have the wisdom, we have the information. Like, yes, it helps to have someone hold your hand, help bring the tools, help guide you through the journey. But at the end of the day, any, quote unquote expert or guide that feels or is making themselves feel more powerful or more knowing than you, that's a huge that's a huge red flag. That is not right. Like you as an individual, every individual has the power to know the truth, to bring their own clarity, to ground themselves, to, like you said, reach that freedom, reach that unconditional love. We're here to guide and support, right? We are not the guru. We are not all knowing. We do not know better, even. We just have some tools and a different perspective to share.
Yeah, I think that is maybe the most powerful tool you can give somebody is that you get to heal, you get to have your own answers, you get to have your own experience, and you get to connect into something that is the most important thing to me in my entire life is my connection
Mm,
to source. Like I
yeah.
value it, like I value, it's like it's the only thing that keeps me safe, you know? And like when you can develop a relationship with this deep inner knowing, and it's just it's like for me, it's just closing my eyes.
Yeah.
And like that is where the answers are for everybody. I don't know your answers. I don't know your journey. I don't actually want to know your journey. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I help you with tools to get there, like you said, but you know, there's so much freedom in having people come back into wholeness, have people come back.
Hmm.
Like I started this Instagram page is like the vibration of me. It's like I came back to my own unique vibration, my own unique knowing, my own unique truth. Like it's my truth. I found it, you know, and there was guides along the way, but like they didn't tell me my truth. They just helped me, they helped lead
Yes.
me to truth, you know.
Yes.
And I
Yes.
was willing enough to go do it.
Yeah. That's that's the key. That
Yeah.
is a huge key. Rachel, I think you've given us so much great information, and you've shown up authentic is definitely the word for you. Like, you do show up so authentically, and it is that grounding, and I can feel the space in between your words, your thoughts, your energy. And had I not known your astrological signs by the end of this conversation, I would have guessed that you were a Cancer sun. So yeah, I love the embodiment of your truest self. If you, one last thing, if you were crossing paths with someone, you have 10 seconds to tell them something that will change their lives, or say something to them that will change their lives. What would it be?
Create a practice and find your inner, like find yourself. Like create a practice for yourself. Close your eyes and go inward. And don't be
Mm,
afraid. Don't be afraid. Like there's nothing to be afraid of. And like we are the healers of our own body and we're the creators of our own life. And like we get to have whatever experience we want to have here. There's
yes.
so much power in coming back in, and it's so beautiful. The process is painful and beautiful and all of it, but like it's a journey worth taking. The journey
Hmm.
to yourself is the greatest journey you will ever take. That's what I would say. I know that's a long-winded say, but that's like
You're holding on to them, making them listen to you.
the journey. Like do it, you know? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. And just one thing you said in there, like, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid, because that is the thing stopping people. But that fear, like, it's really just, you just cross the line. Just step over that line of fear. That's all it is. And then you're on the journey, and like, look at the results. People feel, if you can feel into Rachel's energy, listen to the words she's saying, feel into her energy. Don't we all want this? Like, this is, and it's worth it. I get excited when I see, like, when I'm opening things for clients and I see the dark night of the soul coming, or that they're in it, or I see things crashing, because I'm like, oh, it's about to get good. Like, your life is about to change. Like, that to me is like this good, juicy moment. I know it doesn't always
Keep
feel that
doing this, you know?
way. Yeah, it's
Wow,
time.
I'm here to hold
um,
space for you. Like that's the
yeah.
part. Like I just get to like say like, yes, go for it, you know?
And to be the person on the other side that can say everything that you shared today, hey, it's worth it. This is worth it. I promise you. Because you
It's
need to hear that.
not
You
even
need
worth
to hear that.
like the absolute essential part of like go for it.
It's the whole point.
Go for
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Don't waste your life not going for it. Like
Mm.
go be you. Go find you. Go find whatever it is that you're looking for. Like,
Yes.
yeah, so
Yes.
I
Yeah.
you, by the way. Thank you for this
Oh, oh.
conversation. Like, I just feel so, oh, I love what I feel
You,
this way. Like, I feel so connected because of the
you're,
question you asked, and like, I'm just blown away by you. Thank you.
oh,
This
you're so powerful, and I can
podcast.
feel you just opening up space and permission for so many people. And I can feel the ripple effect of the work that you've done on yourself, and love that you are so far enough into your work that you can bring it to people in a really grounded, beautiful way, versus that reactivity of like, oh, I figured something out. Let me show others. Like, we need you. The collective needs you. And I know that the information, the journey, the learnings that you shared in this podcast are just going to impact so many people. So where can people catch up with you, learn about you even further, join one of these reflection circles? What's the best way to connect?
You can find me on Instagram, or you can find me on platefit.co. That's my business email. But
Okay.
Joel Blumberg Chiprut, which you'll probably post here. It's
Yes.
RPCHA. Yeah, it's a different spelling. And I also have a stand store that you can book directly with me. And then
Awesome.
online circles, I'm going to launch one. I will launch it actually. I'm just going to commit right here to launch one in February. And I will send you the link for that so that
Yes.
you can like post that, and I will do it probably. Yeah, sometime in February I will launch an online and you can join me there.
Amazing. I personally will join because I am really excited to experience this space.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, Rachel, thank you so much.
Thank you.
This was so lovely and a very, very enlightening story and journey that you have.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks everyone.